I'm starting to get asked a lot of questions around taxes and retirement. Joe, what are you doing? I basically have two levers that I pull to help with taxes. One is Roth conversions, and number two is I have my own home business, LLC, and I'll talk about the advantages of each. First of all, in Roth conversions, I believe most of you know at age 72, you got to start taking something called required minimum distributions, which RMDs is what it's also called. It's a percentage of what you have in your tax deferred accounts you have to start taking, and they tell you how much you need to take. Well, that may seem like a long time in the future. I'm currently 57. Why worry about that? Well, I use a model, a free software package called newretirement.com. I'll put a link to it in here. And you put in all your income, all your expenses, healthcare, all that kind of stuff, account balances in your IRAs, any income you got from pension, things like that. And it'll actually project based on an assumed growth rate, could put in Monte Carlo simulation, an aggressive growth rate of your stocks, your mutual funds, whatever you have. And it'll project what those RMDs will be at age 72, 73, 74, 75. And they're pretty scary. It's a good problem to have, but it's pretty scary of what they're going to do. So now that I'm 57 and my income is pretty low, I can actually do Roth conversions. And that means take a portion of my IRA and pay taxes on it. And then that goes into a Roth account that grows tax-free and it comes out tax-free. So you all know that you have tax brackets, 10%, 12%, 22, 24, 32, 35, and 37. Those are just the federal tax rates. So what I do is I try to max out my 22% tax bracket. That's just what works for me. That's what I go into this program thinking. I want to max that out. And it actually balances it out and tells me what exactly, to the dollar, what I should be taking into a Roth conversion every single year. And, for example, this year it was like $127,000, something like that. It wanted me to convert to a Roth and go ahead and pay taxes on that. And then that minimizes my lifetime taxes. So that's one of the things that I do. I use a software package. You can use other software packages. I'm sure there's other great ones out there. You can do this math by hand. It gets a little complicated when you got Social Security coming in, a little pension coming in. I got a little deferred compensation coming in, and then I'm making a little money in my home-based business. It gets a little more complicated. You also got in there your Social Security premiums. Not Social Security, Medicare premiums. Sorry about that. That was definitely a mistake, way off track. So managing Roth conversions, ask for help if you want that. Not from me, from your financial advisor. I use this software package, newretirement.com. I think it's great. There's a free version and a paid version. I do the paid version. It's like $96 a year, and it is more than worth $96 a year. I wish they would give me a sponsorship for doing this, because I've recommended hundreds of people do that. I probably got 100 people sign up for that because of me. The other thing is an LLC or a home-based business. Folks, I don't work too hard. Don't think that I've not had a single consulting engagement where I went to a plant. I'm doing it all virtual now. I prefer virtual. I make it. I will go to a plant site to do coaching on manufacturing, whether it's reliability and maintenance or leadership and plant management. But that's got to be for a very special client that I think they're a great student and they want the help. I'm not going to just solve the problem for them. I'm going to help them solve the problem. So I do make some money during that, but I get to deduct, because I have my own business, I get to deduct my healthcare expenses. I get to deduct my cell phone, my internet, my home office, like $1,000 a year from having a home office. So those are expenses whether I have a business or not. I'm going to have healthcare. I'm going to have my cell phone. I'm going to have my internet. I'm going to have, my office. I didn't build a new one or anything like that. That's $14,000 I get to deduct every year. So if I make $14,000 through YouTube, through my consulting, through my coaching, make $14,000, I have $14,000 worth of expenses. that money is tax-free. $14,000 tax-free. So that's a tax advantage. Now I am able to do some traveling. I love traveling to cities and meeting with people and coaching them. I do speak at national conferences. It's a great hobby of mine. And I get to go to some nice hotels and things like that. Most of the time, those are comped for me, but my travel to those, I get to deduct that, take off mileage. So there's a lot of advantages to having your home business that help you out on the tax front. And a little side note, I've mentioned I bonds in a previous video. That I bonds, are linked to inflation. They're paying like 9.6% or something like that right now. You're able to get $10,000 worth of I bonds every year for every Social Security number in your household. So I have my wife, there's one. I have myself, two. And you're also able to get a $10,000 I bond if you have an LLC. So that's why I have $30,000 worth of I bonds this year. That's helping me offset inflation. It's not taxes, but inflation. So my two levers that I'm using to control my taxes somewhat, I admit I'm not a genius on this. If you got some great ideas, I'd love to hear them. But my business, I get basically the income from YouTube and virtual consulting that I have. Basically, that's tax-free income because of my expenses. And then Roth Conversions. This is Joe out.